welcome to the Peaky Blinders Business School. As you can see, I've got my little peak on myself, so I thought I'd get in the spirit, in the mood, and talk to you about what I believe is the Peaky Blinders Business School, or what you can learn about business from watching Peaky Blinders. Now, I had a conversation with a colleague of mine recently. He's just started watching the show. Obviously, the 5th series is just finished. I haven't finished it yet, so if anyone blurts out what happened at the end of the 5th series of Peaky Blinders, I'm going to be pretty pissed off. So don't do it, please. But what we discussed was this simple premise of the fact that at the end of every series, Tommy Shelby and the boys seem to pretty much win quite easily all the time. And so if you think from the beginning of the series all the way up to the most recent series of Peaky Blinders, the Shelby Family Limited has progressed pretty rapidly, from meager bookkeeping beginnings all the way up to Tommy being an MP. So how the frickin' hell are they able to do this with such ease, and with Tommy seemingly gallivanting around the country, a lot of the time having business meetings in London, I think he was in Ireland, in Liverpool, Scotland, and obviously he's in Brum a lot of the time as well, and how he manages to do that, given the fact that there's no real decent transportation links other than the canal at this time, yet the company runs absolutely perfectly. They seem to get things done extremely quickly, and they have a really sound operation that wins the day after the 6th episode of most series. And this was the discussion that I had with my good friend Engin in the office. As I said, he's just started watching the 2nd series, I think it is now, so he's quite early on. The key is delegation. So Tommy is the leader of the gang. Everyone knows that he is in charge, and what he says goes. He's got a very clear tactic, business strategy, and plan with each season that goes past as to what he wants to achieve by the end of it, seemingly, and more often than not he achieves it pretty simplistically. The reason is that the Shelby Company Limited have designated people to look after every single aspect of that business. They've got the girls that do all the admin, a little bit sexist, but it's true to the time. That's what they did. I think it's Polly that does the accounts, even down to Arthur, who, everyone knows it's his job. He's the hitman. He goes out and shoots people, and he actually gets pretty pissed off when other people step in and do that. You've got Michael, who runs the legitimate part of the business. Everyone knows their role. A lot of the time they're not necessarily involved or have an overarching understanding of the wider aim of what they're trying to achieve, and Tommy keeps that pretty close to his chest a lot of the time, as do a lot of business owners. And ultimately sometimes it's better for those that have a very specific role to keep to that role and not know what the grand plan is. So basically I think the point I'm trying to make is that we can actually, I'm not suggesting that you should start a business where half of it is actually going around killing people and taking money to look after people, but you could certainly, if whatever business you're in, you can definitely learn something from watching Peaky Blinders and seeing the way that the operation is run. Sorry, someone just nearly pulled out and smashed into the side of me, so I lost my train of thought for a second there. You can see how a business is run pretty effectively by watching Peaky Blinders, is basically what I'm trying to say. And like I said, it's the clear key for me is the delegation side of things, that everyone knows how they run their their role within the business. And actually in modern times, it's even easier to set up a business and get that done to me. I'm actually going for a bit of growing pain at the moment. I am seriously under the cosh in my work. I've got far too many clients for me to be able to look after properly, which is a great problem to have, but I've essentially got growing pains. If I consider myself Tommy Shelby, that's where I'm wearing the hat, obviously, then I need to find myself a Michael, a Polly, an Arthur, to do some of the things that I either am not as good at doing or don't have time to do because they're not necessarily income generating. and that's really the next part of my growth in the next couple of years, is to make sure that I've got that, so I can actually step away from this side of the business a little bit more and concentrate on some of the other stuff, some of the property projects that I'm looking at in the background. And that's a lesson for all businesses, is that, you know, in the modern age, in terms of, you don't actually need physical people to help you organise those or take up those particular roles. You can hire virtual assistants that are in the Philippines or in India, or even, you know, some of the Western world, in Canada, places like that. It's still cheaper to get a virtual assistant than to hire someone physically, I should say, to be in your office, of which case you need an office as well, which makes life a bit difficult also. So, you know, looking at certain aspects of your job that you don't like doing and finding others around the world that can fill those gaps. Actually, a lot of people see that as, well, I'm taking away time, I'm spending money on things unnecessarily. Well, actually, think about that time that you're saving, and you can do more of the income generating tasks that effectively facilitate your big overarching long-term plan, as Tommy would probably think. And that will, you know, like I said, allow you to strategize and concentrate on the stuff that's actually going to make you more money. So that's why I thought, as I'm driving up to Brum, I would use that, and seeing as I've got the Peaky Blinders hat on, I thought I would use that as an opportunity to jump on and talk about what I've been discussing with my old mate Engin this week, about how Peaky Blinders can teach you how to run your business, basically. So look, I'd love to hear what you think about these sorts of things, and all the sort of rubbish that I ramble on these videos usually. I do get people coming back to me, which is great to see and hear, and I love engaging in these kind of conversations. If you've got an opinion on this, let me know, either in the comments, or whether you're watching on YouTube later on, you know, fill me in the comments, or whatever channel you can find me on, whether it's Instagram or Twitter, both at the Sam Norris, by the way, on there. Love to hear from you, love to get your feedback. What do you think? Can you learn how to run a business by watching Peaky Blinders? Let's open the debate. Anyway, enough from me. Whatever you're going to do this weekend, have an absolute blinder. In fact, have a Peaky Blinder. Oh, see what I did there? And I will catch you on the next video. Cheers, guys. Bye.